Now available for the first time on Google Play, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are falling apart in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy on Google Play today. 5 people were murdered in a mass shooting that took place in Philadelphia over the July 4th weekend. All news footage in this video is used under fair use of United States copyright law of 1976 and is used in conjunction with my commentary.
But the big story on Action News at noon is the suspect in the deadly mass shooting in the city's Kingsessing neighborhood, charged with 5 counts of murder. In his first court hearing today, 40-year-old Kimbrady Carriker was charged with a total of 11 offenses. 5 people were killed in that attack on Monday night. We also learned today that the 33-year-old mother and 4 children that survived the rampage were all riding in the same white Jeep. Action News reporter Corey Davis is following the investigation.
The accused shooter in this case appeared in court by video conference and sat quietly as the judge read off the serious charges. Locked up and held without bail, 40-year-old Kimbrady Carriker is now charged with 5 counts of murder, several counts of attempted murder, and a number of other charges, including carrying a firearm without a valid permit. The judge saying in court, quote, "Public safety is clearly an issue. There are no set conditions to ensure the safety of the community." Detectives say Carriker went on a rampage Monday night, shooting 7 people seemingly at random, killing 5 of them. Action News obtained security video being used in the investigation believed to show the shooter firing a high-powered rifle toward an SUV at the corner of 56th Street and Chester Avenue in the city's Kingsessing section. Investigators say a 33-year-old mother sustained cuts to her eye after the suspect fired into a Jeep Cherokee she was driving. We now know a 10-year-old was in the passenger seat and was not injured. 2 2-year-olds were in the back, one of them shot in the leg, the other sustained cuts from shattered glass. Investigators now telling us an officer jumped into the Jeep and drove all of them to Penn Presbyterian Hospital. Action News was there as officers looked into the shattered windows of the SUV parked outside of the emergency room. Families of victims who died are expressing their heartbreak and frustration, including the mother of 22-year-old Lashad Merritt.
You need a rot. You need a rot in jail. You know, you need to, because that was wrong. For a person that's not out here in these streets just going to get a snack, it breaks my heart. I don't know what's wrong with people nowadays. I don't know.
District Attorney Larry Krasner says investigators expect to be able to say more about this case now that the arraignment is over. We're expecting to hear from the district attorney later this afternoon. The next court hearing is later this month. Reporting here in Center City, Corey Davis, Channel 6 Action News.
Now, in this incident which took place in Philadelphia, 40-year-old Kimbrady Carriker allegedly stepped out onto the streets of his Kingsessing neighborhood in Philadelphia wearing a bulletproof vest and a ski mask, carrying a long AR-style rifle and a pistol, and began shooting at random people in the neighborhood, taking the lives of 5 people in that neighborhood and injuring 2 others and injuring members of a family driving in an SUV on the street at the time. Now, after a chase by police, Kimbrady Carriker was confronted and arrested. And while the police believe this is an isolated incident, when I take a critical examination of the alleged actions of 40-year-old Kimbrady Carriker, they fit the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And when I take that critical look at Kimbrady Carriker's alleged actions, they are the kinds of actions that beta males participate in when they believe that they have nothing to lose and want to go out in a blaze of glory. Now, according to The Independent, a woman who says that she's Kimbrady Carriker's grandmother says that she doesn't understand what would trigger him. However, after reading multiple reports from many mass shooters, I can say that possibly what motivated Kimbrady Carriker to participate in this mass shooting to wreak havoc in his neighborhood was possibly the fact that he could not achieve the success that he wanted as related to his career in information technology. Now, Kim Brady Carricker was described by police to be an IT professional who had struggled to get patents for his website designs and mostly did odd and end jobs and wanted to get recognized for his own work, but he could not get any sort of recognition for any of his work at all. And I believe that this was the main motivation for Kim Brady Carricker participating in this mass shooting, which took the lives of 5 residents of his neighborhood as he was looking to wreak havoc. And he was looking to wreak havoc, I believe, because he could not build any structure as related to his life. Now, the main reason I believe Kim Brady Carricker could not build any sort of structure as related to his life was because he never really had any structure due to the way he was raised. Now, from the way things sound in the Independent article, it says that Kim Brady Carricker was not raised by a mother and a father. No, Kim Brady Carricker was raised by a grandmother, and because he was raised by a grandmother, he did not have a man in his life to teach him male life skills or male survival skills, so he learned everything about his entire socialization from women. And because he learned everything as related to his socialization from women, he did not know how the world worked for men. Now, many beta males, because they're raised by women, think that men and women are equal, and they think that the world works the same for both men and women. However, it does not work the same for men and women, and the way the world works for men is completely different than it does for women. And sadly, many young beta males like Kim Brady Carricker never learn this early on, and because they don't learn this early on, they don't know how to set a course in life because they don't have the male life skills or male survival skills, and they don't have the intangibles of manhood, such as discipline, resolve, and character, to go out here and persevere. And because they don't have those male life skills, they don't know how to make the world work as a man, even though they have skills with things like computers and graphic design, like Kim Brady Carricker did. Now, even though he had this great skill with tech, he really did not have the male life skills to know how to create a structure for a business, nor did he have the understanding of how to develop network and connections that would get him to his next opportunity, nor did he have the interpersonal skills to know how to connect with men in business, because with most beta males, they are used to submitting to female authority figures. And because they're used to submitting to female authority figures, they don't know that in order to get success in business, you have to learn how to work with men and you have to network with men. Moreover, you have to know how to have a thick skin to take constructive criticism from other men, because with men, iron sharpens iron. And in order for a man to function in a business world, he has to, again, have a discipline and a thick skin. And he also has to know how to navigate through his emotions and be able to, while he feels something, not act on it. And again, these are skills that will help a man in the business world get success. And this was something that Kim Brady Carricker wanted as related to getting recognition for his work. But because he did not know how to work in the world of men, he did not know how to get that recognition. And because he didn't know how to get that recognition, he was becoming more and more frustrated, more and more angry. And as he was simmering and seething in this anger, he basically wound up exploding in this rage. And he exploded in this rage looking to wreak havoc because he could not go out here and build and structure success for himself. And since he could not structure success for himself, he wanted to destroy the world around him. So when I look at the behavior of Kim Brady Carricker, he wanted to get attention for something, since he couldn't get attention for his computer and graphic design and get a career in IT. So he said, since I can't get that career for myself, I will go out here and get infamy for myself. by participating in this havoc where he wanted to wreak havoc. Again, since this man, like many beta male shooters I have done research on, could not figure out how to get success for himself, what happened is this man wound up looking to get infamy by participating in a crime. Now, Kim Brady Carricker had worked for almost, I believe, 17 years to get his life in order after getting a gun charge in 2003. But since he couldn't get that success, he basically felt like he had nothing to lose. And since he felt like he had nothing to lose, this is what led to him looking to go out on this rampage on July 3rd, because with many beta males, they want to go out here and get the most attention. So this is why they plan their murders to be close to holidays or near holidays in some cases, because they want to get maximum infamy as related to their actions, and they want to draw the most attention to themselves as related to their crimes. So this is possibly what led to him looking to go out here and participate in this shooting, where with this AR-15 style rifle and this pistol, again, looking to emulate the behavior of other mass shooters, because I look at that Kim Brady Carricker's actions, again, fitting right in line with the pattern and profile of other mass shooters. And what I see from Kim Brady Carricker is a new pattern I'm seeing emerge with these mass shooters, and this pattern is a copycat pattern where these individuals look to go out here and use the exact same style firearm and use the exact same approach of bulletproof vests and helmets or masks, and looking to go out here and go out in infamy by emulating the behaviors of other previous mass shooters, hoping to get the exact same media coverage. Now, Kim Brady Carricker also was angry about other issues in his life, and those issues also include his sexual orientation and the conflicts he had with his grandmother, who disapproved of him wearing women's clothes due to her Christian beliefs. And this possibly was another thing that made him keep his distance from his grandmother, who he used to visit regularly until about a month ago. And again, he was just a very angry person, and he was very angry because he just did not know how to make things work as related to his life, and he didn't know how to make things work in his life. So since he didn't know how to make things work in his life, what he wanted to do is destroy the world around him. But the whole thing is, he didn't know how to make things work because he did not have the guidance of another man. And without the guidance of another man to teach him how the world worked for men, Kim Brady Carricker, in spite of all of his great skills with computers, was on the road to becoming a man in crisis. And this, I believe, was the main motivation for him participating in that series of murders and looking to murder what reports are saying are random people. But I believe he was really angry at black men because 5 of the people who he targeted were black men. And I believe he was targeting black men because he was angry at black men for not being in his life like his father was, and because he believed that there were no black men out there to be in his life. I believe he willfully and intentionally targeted those black men for death. That's what I personally believe from my years of research as related to beta males. And I believe what led to him going to murder those black men was because he was angry at his father, and he was angry at his father not being able to give him the life skills that he needed, did not know how to navigate life as a man. And this basically led to him seething for an extended period of time, then exploding in this rage, and then taking these firearms and looking to go out here and murder these people, eventually winding up being confronted by police before he could go out here and wind up taking his own life. Now, you have a lot of politicians on the left talking about gun control, but in the state of Pennsylvania, they have the strictest gun laws, and the city of Philadelphia has the strictest gun laws. So that basically dispels once again that this is a gun issue. No, it's not a gun issue, even though those leftist politicians will go out here and deflect and say, oh, he could have got a gun in New Jersey, which also has strict gun laws. But this entire case debunks that entire talking point, because this is not about guns. This is about men, and it's about the way we have been raising boys to become men. The reason why we see these mass shootings is because of the way we're raising boys to become men. And because we're not raising boys to become men who know how to function in the world, they are becoming men in crisis who are looking to lash out at the world and looking to destroy the world around them. Because that's the motivation I believe that Kim Brady Carricker had as related to the mass shooting he participated in. I believe what motivated him to do this had nothing to do with the gun, but it had to do with the dysfunctional family he was a part of, and the fact that he just did not know how to make life work in that world outside of that family. And I see this happening with a lot of boys who grow up to become males. Many of these boys who grow up to become males, yes, they do fine in the authority of females, but when they have to step up in the world of men, they start to have serious problems, and they start to have serious problems which lead to them becoming frustrated and angry because they're looking to try to get things easy, because women usually just get things easy because they are women, and the world works for women is they can just be there and a bunch of men will come to give them things. However, in the world of men have to go out here and work, and they have to go out here and put in work if they hope to get anything in life. That is the way it works for men out here. The way it works for men out here is that men have to go out here and put in that work. Moreover, men have to have a thick skin in order to navigate life in that world, and they have to be able to take rejection and loss, and they also have to go out here and put in work on the things that they want and persevere even in the face of everybody basically looking like they're against you. That's something I had to do in my own life when I'm writing my own books, because a lot of times my own family doesn't support a lot of what I write. And it also something I have to do when I was starting to go out here and build things like the SJS Direct Imprint. I mean, I read the story of Kim Brady Carricker, and he said he wanted to go out here and he was frustrated because he wanted to go out here and get patents for his website designs and wanted to get recognition for his work, but he didn't understand that there was a process to this. That if you want to get a patent for your website design, you go to the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. You have to go out here and register this stuff. And again, he was an IT professional, but he just didn't know how to make things work. And he didn't know how to make things work because he didn't know that as a man, you have to go out here and do your own research, like I did when I wanted to learn about copyrights. I had to go to the library and learn about copyrights, then further learn more about it on the web before I started SJS Direct. I mean, I had to go out here and put in the work on my own projects. And again, I had to go out here and put in the work to learn about copyrights and things like when I was writing screenplays, learning about the WGA and the Copyright Office. I had to do that work myself without anybody looking to support me. And again, this is something a man has to do because he has to have the discipline and resolve to go out here and do what he needs to do. And Kim Brady Carricker was also frustrated because he had to do odd jobs and ends, but that's all part of being a man. If you want to get somewhere, you have to start somewhere. And I know that there's a lot of discrimination in the job market as related to black men, but this guy, again, he wanted recognition, but he didn't understand that a lot of times you may not get recognition until later. I mean, even writing books like the John Haynes series, I get recognition from readers, but I've not really gotten recognition from many mainstream institutions, and I don't look for it because as a man, I do things because I love doing it. And again, this guy basically, he never had anybody to give him any sort of guidance or mentoring, and he didn't understand how things work. And as he was out here trying to make things work, he was getting more and more involved in politics, and that was messing with his ability to feel. And again, he wasn't knowing how to navigate through his feelings. And sadly, because he didn't know how to navigate through his feelings, his frustration eventually wound up simmering and seething, and eventually he wound up entering into this rage. And as he entered into this rage, he looked to go out here and take the lives of black men, because he was a man in crisis, because he never got the guidance from men. So when I look at Kim Brady Carriker, sadly, here is a man who was a man, who became a man in crisis, and now that man in crisis is going to go from being a man who was struggling in the world as related to trying to build a career in IT, to going to the penitentiary, where they're going to turn out his booty. Now, he's going to go from being a guy trying to work to build an IT career to being an inmate inside of the Pennsylvania criminal justice system, where he's going to have to now deal with Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, and Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles, as they look to trade him for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light, peppermint gumballs, packets of Taster's Choice coffee, snack pack pudding cups, and Flavor Aid packets. I mean, this man's life is going to get far more worse inside of that penitentiary, and sadly, this man in crisis won't get any help in the penitentiary, because America just doesn't want to acknowledge the man crisis in this country, and the man crisis in this country is continuing to get worse. And instead of confronting the man crisis, we have the mainstream media looking to conflate events like a recent shooting, I believe, in Baltimore, where 28 people wound up getting shot. And what they're looking to do in that incident is trying to conflate it and say it's a mass shooting, when an actual mass shooting is what Kim Brady Carriker participated in. No, Kim Brady Carriker was a mass shooter. He was the one who fits the pattern and profile for a mass shooter, a lone gunman who actively looks to take the lives of random people in an incident because they are frustrated about the state of their lives. Whereas the shooting in Baltimore, which is what they're trying to conflate, is an incident where you've got a bunch of black people coming together for some sort of thing like a block party or a party, and Pookie and Ray Ray just start shooting, and they don't care where the bullets go. Again, there's a difference between the two crimes, but what the white media wants to do is conflate those two crimes, because they see too many white male perpetrators going to be the face of mass shootings, and in order to do that, they need to take the heat off of those white male mass shooters and look to make it a black crime. However, mass shootings have nothing to do with race in most cases, even though a majority of the shooters are white and male. No, mass shooters are a product of the dysfunctional way we have been raising boys to become men here in America for the last 50 to 60 years. And over the last 50 to 60 years, we have been raising boys to become dysfunctional males who eventually become men in crisis because they do not have the proper male life skills or proper male life or survival skills, because there's no father there to model manhood for them. Moreover, there is no father there to teach these boys the life and social skills that men need to participate in order to get success. There is no man there to teach them how to work with other men, and instead, because they learn how to submit to female authority figures, they learn to compete against other men or see other men as adversaries and enemies, and because they see men as adversaries and enemies, they look to do harm to them the same way Kim Brady Carriker did when he went out on that street and mostly murdered 5 black men. Again, this is all about a man crisis in this country, and while others will conflate this and try to say it's a gun issue, they will try to say it's all about the guns, again, and gun control, because Kim Brady Carriker had a even though he was arrested, he had a record and could not buy guns legally. This basically shows that none of these gun laws are going to stop these males, because when you're dealing with males like this, they will find a way to get a weapon, whether it be a gun, whether it be a car, whether it be like the Oklahoma City bombers where they get fuel oil and fertilizer. They will use anything as a weapon because they want to go out in infamy and get the attention for themselves, and they don't care what they have to get to hurt people because they're hurting inside, and they want the world to know how much they hurt, and they want to hurt the people back who they believe hurt them, prevent them from denying them from their dreams. And since these men feel like they have nothing to lose, they will use anything as a weapon. So many in America refuse to acknowledge the man crisis in this country. And that's what's leading to us having over 300 incidents in less than half a year complete. And all we hear from many politicians is it's about guns. No, it's about people, and it's about the way we have been raising people. And many don't want to admit we're doing things wrong because we don't want to upset the women, because and tell them they don't know how to parent, but clearly they don't know how to parent because the boys that they have been raising for the last 60 years have led to an increase in frequency of this violence, to the point where our society has gone from being a place that's been filled with ticking time bombs from the 70s to the 90s to the 2000s and 2010s, where we saw these ticking time bombs accelerate, to now where we have in the 2020s landmines that practically are going off every day, because many of these men, after the COVID-19 lockdowns, have had their clocks accelerated, and now these men basically are looking for any reason to go off. And again, it's not a matter of if they go off, but when. And the scary part is nobody knows when these men will go off or what they are capable of doing when they go off. That is the scariest part of the man crisis in this country that America doesn't acknowledge. Nobody knows if the man standing across from you, the man standing beside you, or the man standing next to you is one of these landmines, and you don't know if you walk against them the wrong way, if they'll go off. That is the scary part about dealing with these kinds of males, because nobody knows what will set them off or what will go out here and motivate them to participate in their violence. But from my years of research on these beta males, the main foundation of the reason why they're going off is the man crisis. And the man crisis is due to the way we tried to socially engineer a kinder, gentler, softer male. But this softer, kinder, gentler male is filled with rage on the inside. And the scary part about that rage is we don't know how angry these men are or what they're capable of doing if they get triggered as related to their anger. And again, most people will look at this as an isolated incident, but when you start to compare the backgrounds of almost all of these men for the last 50 to 60 years, you start to see a pattern emerge as related to these men. And that pattern is something, again, most people don't want to acknowledge because we don't want to upset the feminists. We don't want to upset the leftists and tell them that their policies and approaches to parenting have failed and that their new, kinder, gentler, softer man that was supposed to be a part of a great society is turning out to be the greatest menace to society ever created, and that this menace to society has made society so untenable. And that's why we need to acknowledge the man crisis in this country, because if we don't acknowledge the man crisis in this country, the violence is only going to get worse. And I said that about 5 years ago when I started doing Man Crisis videos and first introduced the book, The Man Crisis. And sadly, I see my words coming true because America just doesn't want to acknowledge that the way we're raising boys to become men are creating men in crisis all across this country. Now, if you want to learn more about what leads to males becoming men in crisis and what leads to them on this fall on this dysfunctional paradigm and pattern of life, You can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you'd like to see me make more videos about The Man Crisis, you can send me a donation to the Patreon, PayPal, or Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.